Hello and welcome to another episode of Vanilla City Skylines, where we are building the city of Minoqua Bay. Last episode, we worked on building out our 5-star zoo to help raise land value over here in Riverside. In today's episode, we are going to work on building a small city center. So what I'm going to do is we're going to first buy these 2 tiles. First right here. Our second tile right here. And soon enough, we'll be able to unlock this tile and expand out our highway infrastructure. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to pause the game and get rid of some of these service buildings. And I'm just going to let this zone in as residential. So I'm going to take one of our small 4-lane roads. And we're going to feed it right off of this road that kind of dead ends into the suburb. We're going to come out by a distance of 1,200. And we're going to kind of continue our city grid slightly. It's kind of mimicking what we've been doing, but I want to change the distance here so that I can come in with some of our vanilla plazas right up against our main street, Mary Mason Street, which we will probably rename in a later episode. I'm going to take some of our amusement park paths and place them right up against these 2 plazas that we just placed in. I'm going to feed one right along the center as well. And then come in with our forestry fence on either side. And continue the decoration pattern that we have along the rest of this street with 2 oak trees on one side, and we're going to put just 1 on this side. So next we're going to come to our unique buildings tab. And in level 3 we have the tax office, which kind of works as a small town city hall. I'm going to have that be flush against the 4-lane road that we have. And I'm going to take a 2-lane road with trees and push that right against our tax office. Just behind the tax office, I think we can continue our amusement park, kind of a red brick pathway district. I'm going to come along again with our forestry fence just to block the zoning and bring in some of our oak trees. Cool. Now we can also, I think in this district, and let's check out our terrain heights. And we can see that this is a fairly flat area. So I'm going to expand our grid just a little bit. Then come back over here and check on our terrain heights to see when the terrain heights hit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of push it back a tiny little bit. Oh, it would help if I actually had the level terrain tool and not the shift terrain. So now we're going to push that back just a little bit so that we can get one more iteration of our grid, which almost lines up with this. And I think I'll just make it line up. Now, right here, we don't want to have two intersections right next to each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my freeform tool and guide this towards this intersection. Let's see how that looks. Not a huge fan of that. But maybe we can put a city park right here. And I think that is what we will work on doing later in this episode. So I'm going to continue building this out with a couple more unique buildings. So we have Amsterdam Palace. Also fits right there. Let's see how that looks. Do we like that orientation, or do we maybe want this facing toward the city park? I think I like it better facing toward where our city park is going to be. So I'm going to come with the amusement park fence and just hug the side of this building. So we want to make this tax office also look like an important building. So we're going to come over to our pedestrian area plazas. I think we can fit a statue plaza right in front of it, just nicely. And again, we're going to want to block our zoning a bit with some forestry fence. And just come along again with our oak trees. Just to help frame this out. I think that looks nice. Let's see what other buildings we have. Cathedral, I think we can save for a different episode. City Hall can maybe fit right here. So we want this City Hall to also be right in a central location within this district. Then come along the back of it. I think for this one we'll just go with some trees. Also looks very nice. So I'm going to come in with some pathways, just to make sure that we are getting our 4x4 zoning in this area. Cool. So let's come back over to our firehouse. We're going to place that right next to City Hall. And we want our police headquarters, which I think we can place, let's see, it's going to be a little bit too busy if we place it there. If we place it right next to City Hall, I feel like that distracts from our City Hall. What if we used this version? Would that blend in better? I think it does. But I don't want it right there. We're going to place it right here. And come along with our oak tree. Actually, no, we're not going to use our oak trees. I don't like these trees very much. I think I'm going to go for some of our flowering trees. Very nice. Then we're just gonna place some commercial zoning right there. Let's put this pathway back in and build some commercial zoning around the rest of the district. Cool. So now let's come... Ooh, do we want a pedestrian area? I think a pedestrian area could be cool. Let's do a pedestrian area. So we're just gonna hug the road right along here. And you'll see later in the episode that these areas just really, really increase land value dramatically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to pedestrian areas, and we're going to place a small pedestrian area service point. And I think I want to use sandstone streets for this area. So we're going to come along here. So one thing I don't like about the way this is right now is that there's only 2 tiles right there. And each of our large plazas takes up 3 tiles on either side. So we're going to come over here, grab a large food truck plaza, large ice cream stand plaza. We're going to frame that with our small sandstone street. Do we maybe want some trees along this as well? Yeah, I think we can do that. So we'll set it up so that all of our pedestrian streets that go this way have trees, and all of the ones that come this way have grass. But we're not going to connect right there. We can connect right there, and probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to our junctions and turn off the traffic lights. Because we do not want traffic lights right there. Nice. We can frame that out with our red brick as well. And I think here what we'll do is just make sure that we don't have any zoning by blocking it off with a fence. We're going to come with a couple of our small flower trees, which we can place right here. Or do we maybe want to use some palm trees? I think I like these palm trees. What about the dates? Yeah, let's use the date palms along this. So we can come here, and right there I'm going to put some commercial zoning in. We want to try to maximize our zonability in this area. So I'm going to come again with that. We might even look at adding in some tram tracks when we start incorporating our public transit. I want to use grass coming this way. And we see that we have 4 tiles of zoning available right here. And come in and complete that. Like that. So now we have our network laid out for our pedestrian area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come along our main road with a fence. Which, again, is more about blocking zoning than anything else. Unfortunately, it's blocking this zoning. Oh well, no fence. That's fine. So let's come in and see what plazas we have to work with. Maybe a small fountain plaza? And we also might want to work in some water in this area. That should get us some decent water coverage. Okay, so with our land value bonus, we should have all of our plazas unlocked, and we do. Do we want to use this? No. Well, even if we want to, we can't. We don't have enough space. Ooh, but we do have enough space right here. But I just don't feel like that's a good placement of that asset. Which is fine, we can use it later. I wonder, what about this flower plaza? It's one of my favorite plazas in this pack. And it fits in with our tropical theme as well, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit another one right there. Coming with our amusement park path right behind them. So now I'm just going to frame this with some commercial zoning. Maybe bring an amusement park around the, or amusement park path around the back. We can decorate this with some of these props. So let's see what we've got. Let's use a sandstone paper. That could be nice. So we're going to fill this out with our sandstone pavers. Maybe place a modern recycling container right here. And have an ice cream stand. A couple of ice cream stands, I think, right there. No. Let's get rid of those. What do you think about this, maybe? That could be nice. And then come alongside here where we didn't quite get our sandstone coverage we were hoping for. Just see if we can get some of these in. Yeah, I think that'll work. And then we can just get some park benches around the side of this. So now let's check and see where our demand is. And we have a lot of demand for residential zoning. And some complaints about land value over here. So I think what we can do is we can build out a small medical complex along this area, and it can help raise the land value over here. So let's see. Our road guidelines. Let's come straight to that road guideline and around. So now we know approximately where they should be able to meet. So let's come out there. And that should work. And then we can probably feed that into a farming industry right here. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to create a small one-way system. Pause this so that those buildings don't abandon. So we're going to come without road guidelines by a distance of 750. I'm going to place in a hospital. Trying to make sure that we have enough room to run a pathway between, which I don't think we will. So what we can do instead, so I think we can put that right about here. Then frame around the hospital, which should be enough to raise the land value over here, but we'll see. So we're going to bring in some of our pedestrian area plazas. A small fountain plaza on either side. And let's use a vanilla path instead. I think that helps to extend the asset. So we're going to come back to road guideline and curve that out. Very nice. So now we're going to come in with another unique. We're going to do the Lazarette Plaza right in front of our hospital. We're going to come and frame it with our amusement park fence. And now we're just going to try to get this as close to the 4-lane road as we can. Just to extend this asset out as much as we can. And I'm going to come on this other side, and we're going to place an elder care facility, as well as a child care facility facing right there. I think we can also use our road framing pattern for these assets. And then we can come in. Let's try to use a different plaza. How about our flower plaza? Framed by our amusement park fence. Let's see, it looks like we've mostly fixed our land value problem. Yes. They seem to be a little bit happier with their land value. Wow, that's a lot of traffic. Let's check our junctions. And that does not need a traffic light. That does not need a traffic light. Of course they don't have enough workers. So let's come in a little bit. We're gonna paint another district. And I don't know if this is going to change anything, but because we have a lot of European themed assets within our pedestrian area, I think it would be a good idea for us to focus on a more European theme for the buildings. So let's see if that does anything. Speed it up. Doesn't appear that any of these businesses are abandoning. Okay. What about European suburbia? No. That's okay. I know of another way we can deal with that. Let's come to our commercial specializations. And I think we're going to go with organic and local produce. That should fix that problem. That should fix that problem very quickly. Nice. So now let's extend our residential grid over here. Maybe without the one-ways. I think this is where we start getting into some terrain that starts to slope, which I think is fine. We don't need everything to be perfectly flat. Kind of gets kind of boring after a little while when we do that. So I'm going to come around our gravel paths that were a key feature in the neighborhood that we're extending. Extend our water pipe network. And now we're just going to start filling in some of our residential demand. And that should alleviate the issue that we have of not having enough workers for the businesses in this area. So now we want to think about filling in some of our green space. I think we will use, again, you know, some of our forestry that we've been using. Just kind of click randomly with some different trees. Maybe bring in some of these trees. And come over here with some of our flowering trees. Small bushes, I think, could go nicely here. Oh, green tree. Also another scientific term. Just like our tree with leaves, number 2. Let's get some more color variation with our second flowering tree. I think we can use this to get some variability with our green. And then just come in and have some overgrowth. Just to catch any areas that we might have missed. And of course, our favorite, some small rocks. I think that looks pretty nice. That looks really, really nice. Let's see what our land values are over here. Oh, oh my. We need electricity, and we need it badly. So we're gonna place some more windmills. See what that does for us. Now, we do have access to the geothermal plant, I believe. Yes, and I think when we build out our next industrial area, it'll fit in much better than just trying to ram it in somewhere where we don't really have a lot of space. We got Walnut Park up to 34 cents. Franklin Hills, of course, is going to be really high. Oakland up to 38. Even more than Riverside. Very nice. Let's hope that these people start filling in a little bit more. I think we can come around and start decorating this area as well. So let's see. Do we want to incorporate some more of these? Ooh. Fountain of Life and Death. I think could be very appropriate around this area. And we can also come in something that I don't believe I've built yet in this city, and we probably need to incorporate somewhere, which is our public library. Then we, of course, will come around the back with some oak trees. Maybe frame this with some amusement park fence. And come again with our oak trees. It's starting to look very nice. So now I want to see, can we... No, I don't think we can. That's fine. So what we can do is we can just come around the road with our forestry fence. and we'll, you know, have a little bit more green belt around the hospital. So I don't believe we have space for the medical helicopter depot, which is fine. It's not an asset that I think we're really going to need, because if you build your city well, and you know, you think about, you know, not placing your citizens near polluted areas, then typically you'll be fine with citizen health, at least to the point where having this hospital will literally become useless. So we're gonna keep coming around. Distance too short. That's fine. Come here to our road guideline and just hook that in. So we can maybe bring in... ooh, we have enough room for some rocks. We love rocks. So we can focus this decoration, or this forested area, much more around rocks than dense trees, which I like. Having some variation in our decorating patterns. Just because I think having a dense forestry just can get kind of repetitive and overbearing. Not just, you know, on, you know, whatever you're playing on, the console or PC, if you don't have good enough graphics cards. But it just gets overwhelming to look at least in the game, sometimes. So I'm gonna come around just with a few oak trees, some of these purple trees, just kind of randomly scatter them throughout. And just remember that we're not going to fill this area too densely with trees. Because it is all about this rock formation that we've got. Let's see how much space this is. So we've got, it's roughly a 5x5. Would be good for maybe a Paradox Plaza. Could be nice there. And then we can frame around this with some of our date palms. We're just gonna frame around the path network. And then come in with just a touch of overgrowth. And a few small rocks. And we're gonna continue that pattern of just overgrowth and small rocks around this, just to have some cohesion in how we're decorating, and also to keep us from having that overbearing amount of forestry, which would be a little bit unrealistic in an urban area, which this area gradually gets more urban as it's going to push towards our downtown area. And we just hit Big Town, which unlocks our new tile, campus areas taxation policies, which we're not going to make much use of. It unlocks Metro wall-to-wall specialization, IT cluster, trade school campus area, which I don't think we're going to build one of those in this city. We're going to focus more on the liberal arts college, which I think will fit better within our tropical theme. We get wall-to-wall specialization, IT cluster, leisure specialization, and a whole bunch of new policies, high-density residential zone, and a whole host of other things, including a high-capacity hospital, which I think we can probably place a little bit closer to our downtown area. So let's think about what we're going to do in the future. And I think in the future, this is probably going to be an area where we need to have metro availability. I think everywhere is going to be a place we need water availability. Let's see here. This place isn't going to get any pollution. So let's just hook that in. And another thing that we unlocked, which is going to come in very handy, is an earthquake sensor, which we can use to help sink power through without having to use the power lines, which can be really annoying to look at times. So let's see, we don't need any power lines there. We can come again with an earthquake sensor. Let's just place it there, maybe. Let's see here. Yep, that's sinking through. Now we're gonna come this way. Let's see how that does. Need another one. And there we go. So now we can get rid of these power lines. And I think, let's see. Now that we have access to high density residential, I think what I want to do is I want to build a small apartment complex. So what you can do to build these apartment complexes is we're going to create just a small little road frame. So I'm going to come out by 1,000 on either side. Make sure we get our 4-lane road. Let's come again over here to this road guideline. With that, and we're going to sever this connection. I'm going to a small curve. Comes about there. I come out by about 350. Okay, and over there. Come back down. Say by a distance of 350 again. Alright. So now what we can do is we can take some buildings that we got in... oh, what was that content creator pack? I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one where we got the hotels, these buildings, like the Hotel Lawrence, Hotel Adeline, and whatnot. We can use these as our main buildings for our apartment complex, just to kind of simulate that. I think that one looks nice. So now we're going to come around, frame that with a path. Which I think we're going to use a gravel path for this apartment complex. So now let's see what kind of zoning we've left ourselves with. Maybe we can actually come in with our, we haven't used this yet, our green cities residential. So we're going to come around, come to our residential specializations tab. Ooh, do we want that? I think we want to do this one. So we're going to use self-sufficient buildings. Just click on that. Let's see. You know, just what different buildings we have available. So let's see what 2x3 is going to look like. Maybe speed that up a little bit. While we're waiting for those to spawn, I'm going to come around with a park fence. Just kind of fence off this area. While we're waiting for those to come in, I think we can... What can we do? Let's bring another gravel path along right here. And right there. Maybe come along the back there. And there as well. So now we're just gonna use our tree with leaves, and we'll let that be the main tree that we use for this specific area. And of course make sure that we're not putting those right here. Not that it's gonna affect our ability to zone properly, but I just don't want them there. I'm gonna continue just kind of in a straight line around that road. Maybe even upgrade these into treed roads. Alright. That's fine, we can just wait for that to come in. So we do have some demand for industrial, which we can probably, we'll handle that next episode because we have a good bit of forestry available right here. Or not forestry, we have farming available over there. I think for the time being what we can do, just bring in some office zoning. And that should help us start spawning. Oh, you know what? We want to have high density residential over here. I think 2x3 is going to be our zoning pattern that we're going to use. And we can also come in and do our organic and local produce specialization for commercial. And just zone in a couple of parking lots. And we'll place that there. Use our vanilla surface painter just to kind of help get that worked in. Alright. So now we've got some apartment buildings coming in. These are what we're looking for. So as they come in, we're just going to make them historical. You are not what I'm looking for. Bye-bye. You're not what I'm looking for. Alright, we want our Edison hypercharger. Again, do not want you. Or you. And we're going to come in one last time with our 2x3 zoning. And we have a small little apartment complex. I think... Let's pause this temporarily. We're going to come in. Gonna be there now. All right. So now we can go there. Oh, that zoning is ugly, ugly, ugly. That'll be fine. Not going to be able to use pathways right there. That's fine. We can use them right here instead. I think that'll create some 2x3. Come back in with this path, lock in there, and that should work. So we're going to continue our decorating pattern, which is the tree with leaves number 2. We're going to do over here as well. Yeah, that looks nice. All right. So let's continue this fencing. And continue that as well. Oh, cool. Now we have a little parking lot. I think here we can just come in with some rocks and small little bit of overgrowth. Along with our favorite tree for this area. Let's make sure these don't level up. And actually, you know what? We can probably add a small little park to this area, or maybe even a plaza. I think a park would work nicer. No, not that. What do we think of this? I think that could be nice. Alright, so that's a rough idea of how we can build an apartment complex. Just use one of these to, you know, simulate a main building, and then we want to create the same looking building, even though some of the colors are different, which is fine. It just gives us a little bit of variation. And just decorate it in similar fashion throughout the entire complex, which has kind of been the theme of all of our series as we've built this city. So just to help get our apartment complex to finish building, I'm just going to zone in some more office zoning just because it's relatively harmless and isn't going to do anything to the residential zone that we have over here. Really need to fill in that space. Oh, we're not going to. Or are we? Let's see. About an oak tree? Yeah, that helps quite a bit. So let's see, 79 cents. Let's see. Yeah, so like I said, it is absolutely insane how high the land value gets in these pedestrianized areas. It is also insane the amount of traffic, which I think will be resolved when we build another interstate exit. As you can see, this road just can't really handle all of the traffic that it's getting. So I think what we'll do is we'll come back to our road guidelines. And we can set this up as our next main arterial road, which, let's check over here and see what this looks like. Okay. And that, I believe, is, yes, that is where our ore industry will sit. So we can bring this up. Let's see. I know I want to come under the highway for this intersection, so let's pull out a small segment of the highway. Which, one of the things I just absolutely hate about this map is you can see the highway just goes straight down, which is really annoying when you want to come in and build some of these intersections, but we can work with it. Let's see. So let's take out another tiny little chunk of the highway. And another. So what we can do, just to kind of get around this unfortunate situation, is can come there. pull out all of that highway. We're gonna bring this up. And now level this out. And I think for this intersection, we're just gonna do a simple diamond intersection. And we will focus, I know I do like to build diverging diamonds within city skylines, and I'll probably start incorporating those closer to the downtown just because they're able to let more traffic pass through. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up to our new road. That will be our new exit. Build that. Of course, my other gripe about this map is that these highways are not straight, they're curved. Let's try that again. So we're gonna extend this out just a tiny bit more on both sides. Not straight. Not in the slightest. So let's just kind of see what we can do. So I'm going to come there, and now we're going to start sloping down just as best as we can. Oh boy, that's ugly. We can fix that. We can fix that. Get some more sloping in, just kind of soften this terrain a bit. And then we're going to come over here and extend this out a tiny little bit. That'll work for now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull back some of this highway a little bit more. Level this out. What we're gonna do is we're gonna come up as close as we can get, which that thing apparently doesn't like. That's fine. Oh, come on, you were fine with it before. Let's try this again. Right there should be fine. Alright, so now we're just going to upgrade these back into the 3-lane highways. Meet back up with this terrain height. And now we are just going to try to carve this as best as we can. That's not too awful. Not too great either, but We're just making do with what we got. So let's reverse that. Oh boy, this is about to get really expensive. I'm going to carve out a little area of this mountain, which, like I said, is going to be our forestry industry. Or not our forestry industry, I keep saying that. It's going to be our coal industry. Let's say have the exit start there. Which is very nice. Well, you'll get over it. We'll have the exit come up to there. And now we'll do the same on this other side. Let's extend this road in slightly. Now we're going to slope down from about the same place. I'm gonna end it probably there. No. Let's try there maybe. I think that's a little bit better. Come here. And slope there. Connect like that. So now we're gonna just connect in our roads and kind of fill in the grid a little bit. Just kind of fill in this new area of highway that we have built. So I'm gonna bring in you. I wonder, what could we do? Could make this be maybe a more affordable housing area. Which I think is really code word for lower land value, but what do I know? Let's see. That can be something, which I think, let's check on our education needs. So we're good on our elementary school. We could end up needing a new high school soon. Cars do not seem to like that. Let's see. And already you can see, just by adding in a new highway exit, we have increased our traffic flow pretty dramatically. Nice. Well, that just about wraps up this video. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into some detailing, and we will be right back for a city tour. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe below. I think next episode we will work on building an industry area, either our coal industry over here or our farming industry over here. Now enjoy a brief city tour.